Good evening. You're now watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Vincent Chan, and here's a look at tonight's top stories. There's been a scramble for $30 tickets to watch a film on Saturday. A Hong Kong firefighter is arrested in Tokyo on suspicion of sexual assault. And 40,000 students sat today for the last liberal studies paper in the university entrance exam. One day after tickets were distributed for the first food fair in the Happy Hong Kong program, it was a turn of movie buffs. There were long queues at cinemas, while others spent hours online for discounted tickets. Maisie Mock reports.
There was a long line of people at this Mongkok cinema this morning. Their aim was to snap up $30 tickets for film shows on Saturday as part of the government's Happy Hong Kong campaign. "I've bought them," said this jubilant woman who purchased 4 tickets. She hopes cinemas can offer cheaper tickets to every resident on their birthday. This man rarely goes to the movies. He says it costs too much, but with the discount, he saved $70 on each ticket. At a cinema in Kennedy Town, there was a scramble for tickets from machines and at the counter. Many people avoided the crowds by going online, but the website of Emperor Cinemas warned those who logged on at noon that they had to wait for 32 hours. The websites of some other cinemas were also inaccessible because of the large number of users. Normal operations resumed only later in the day. The Hong Kong Theatres Association apologized for the inconvenience caused to those who queued physically and online. It said cinemas tested their websites in advance and had worked on alleviating the congestion. The discounted tickets gave touts an opportunity to make a profit. Several used an e-commerce platform to sell tickets for at least double what they paid. Maisie Mock, HKIBC.
A Hong Kong firefighter has been arrested in Japan on suspicion of sexually assaulting a woman. The 30-year-old man, surnamed Wong, was traveling with his wife but left her in their hotel room in Tokyo when he went out to get some food. According to Japanese media, the suspect sexually assaulted a young woman in a toilet near a noodle shop. The alleged incident happened on Sunday, but the man was arrested yesterday before checking out of the hotel. Hong Kong's Fire Services Department confirmed that the officer was on holiday at the time, adding that it will follow up on the case. A former unionist is pessimistic about the prospects of any type of rallies in Hong Kong in the short term. This comes after a disbanded trade union umbrella group decided to cancel its application to hold a Labor Day march. Janice Low reports.
COVID was the reason given for a ban on Labor Day rallies in the past 3 years. But with Hong Kong returning to normal, 2 former officials of the now-defunct Confederation of Trade Unions were hoping to revive the tradition. 3 weeks ago, they applied to stage a 500-strong rally on May 1st. But yesterday, the application was abruptly withdrawn. One of them, Danny To, wrote on social media that co-applicant and former chairman Joe Wong signed a withdrawal paper. To said Wong had a mental breakdown after he was taken away yesterday. Speaking on a radio show this morning, To said Wong felt better last night. Neither of them had ever thought of cancelling the march. To said he did not expect Wong to scrap the application, as police could have issued an objection letter instead. He also believed that a Labor Day rally would not pose any risk, as officers are capable of handling the event. To does not expect any demonstration in the city in the near future, saying the authorities appear to have a harsh attitude towards such events. He said The manner in which Wong decided to withdraw the application suggested that Hong Kong might still be in an abnormal state. Wong declined to be interviewed, declaring that he has nothing to say. Janice Low, HKIBC.
A suspect has been arrested in connection with the murder of a 52-year-old man on Changchao. Footage posted online showed two men scuffling on Tai San Back Street at about 11 a.m. Another video showed a man slumped on the ground with head injuries as medics tried to assist him. He was certified dead in hospital an hour later. Police classified the case as murder and arrested the 43-year-old suspect at his home. The men, who are believed to have tried backgrounds, reportedly knew each other and argued over money. The suspect was believed to have taken drugs before his arrest. The liberal studies test was done for the last time today as part of the Diploma of Secondary Education exam. Teachers who taught the subject were sad that it's now become history. Maisie Mok reports.
An announcement marked the end of the last liberal studies test for over 40,000 candidates. The subject was a key part of the university entrance exam for 12 years. This student said it was a pity that liberal studies will no longer be taught because the subject made her interested in social issues and government measures. Another student felt that the new subject, citizenship and social development, is not as broad as liberal studies. There were 3 compulsory questions for candidates in the final liberal studies paper: charges for plastic bags, care for the elderly, and drug patents. For the 4th question, they could choose one of the 3 topics: global food security, e-learning, and China's platform economy. A teacher said the questions were not too difficult.
As expected, so there are no political issues, no controversial topics. But being the teacher that start the subject in the school for more than 10 years already, for sure, for me and also for my colleagues, we do feel sad about the end of the subject. I believe that history is now history. So therefore, just leave it and then we look forward to the new subject.
Next year, students sitting for the Citizenship and Social Development exam will not be given a grade, but will be told whether they passed or failed. Maisie Mok, HKIBC.
6 out of every 10 people who took part in a public consultation support a massive reclamation project off Lantau Island. A 3-month opinion-gathering exercise ended last month, with the government receiving around 7,800 submissions. Those in favor felt the authorities have properly addressed environmental and feasibility concerns. Respondents who opposed the plan were mainly worried about its $580 billion price tag. Development Chief Bernadette Lin hopes to kick off an environment impact assessment by the 4th quarter of this year. In an interview with HKIBC, Southern District Councillor Paul Zimmerman expressed concern.
The plan for the artificial islands and the development of the areas around Lantau is a very old plan. It goes to the Rose Garden project, and we talk about 1980s. So we're 40 years down the line, and we kind of keep holding on to it. Population is declining and the economy is changing. I think we have to be careful. We can't be cavalier about these numbers.
Turning overseas, Western leaders have welcomed a phone conversation between President Xi Jinping and his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky. They hope the call could lead to an end of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia.
This was awaited. It's a very good news. It's a first step that China will eventually reach out with Ukraine. And we want to say that any meaningful initiative for a just peace for Ukraine is very much welcome. I want to be clear. We all want peace.
Xi told Zelensky yesterday that Beijing will send a special envoy to Ukraine in an attempt to launch a peace process. The Ukrainian leader expressed satisfaction with their conversation, adding that they agreed to keep in touch. Their talks came at a critical stage in the 14-month-old conflict amid claims that Ukraine is poised to launch a counter-offensive against Russia. The United States and South Korea have agreed on a defense strategy in the wake of a barrage of missile tests by North Korea.
A nuclear attack by North Korea against the United States or its allies or partisans or partners is unacceptable and will result in the end of whatever regime were to take such an action. We're not going to be stationing nuclear weapons on the peninsula, but we will have visits, ports visits of nuclear submarines and things like that. We are not walking away from that.
South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol said he and Biden decided that an attack by the North will be met with a swift and forceful response. During his state visit to Washington, Yoon focused on Pyongyang's recent tests, including the launch of a solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile. North Korea defended its actions, saying it needs to protect itself from the U.S. and the South. Beijing's efforts to rely less on the US dollar were boosted when the yuan overtook the greenback as the most widely used currency for China's cross-border trade. The mainland unit was used in almost half of last month's transactions, shrinking the dollar's share to 47%. Beijing's aim to internationalize its currency reaped further dividends when Argentina decided to pay for Chinese imports in yuan instead of dollars. The move by Buenos Aires helps to stem a drain on its dwindling dollar reserves while giving the yuan a higher profile. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed up 83 points. The top 10 active stocks: Alibaba down $1.50, Tencent down $3.20, Ping An up $4.65. BYD up $3.20 and Meituan up 90 cents. For trading against Hong Kong dollars, the euro is at 8.66 and the British pound is at 9.8. The London FTSE is down less than 1 point. Australia is set to overhaul its immigration system in a bid to attract people who can help lift the economy.
It is increasingly easy for migrants to come to Australia in search of a low-paid job, but increasingly difficult for migrants with the skills that we desperately need. One of the reasons there is so much exploitation in Australia is because we have allowed low-wage migration programs to operate in the shadows, for example, through exploitation of our international student visa system.
The revamp includes ending a 10-year-old freeze on the minimum wage for skilled migrant workers. From July, it will go up by more than $10,000 to $46,300. Onto the weather now. Cloudy with rain patches tomorrow, but there could also be bright periods. Temperatures will range between 22 and 26 degrees. Possible thunderstorms on Saturday. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Thursday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Vincent Chan. Thanks for watching. Good night.